Okay, looks like we have our 4 members here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And welcome to the Meridian Township Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Today is December 16, 2020. It is 6:31 p.m. and we are going to go ahead and get started. It looks like the first item tonight will be to approve our agenda. Anyone have a motion to approve? Okay, I saw Member Hendrickson's hand go up first. And seconded by Member Field Foster then?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I move the agenda.
All right. Any discussion on the agenda? Okay. Go for a vote on approving the agenda for tonight's meeting. Member Field Foster.
Sorry, I keep having a problem with my little mute button. Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't hear you I saw you motion the the second. Okay. Member Hendrickson.
Yes.
Member Kulhanek.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So the agenda for tonight's meeting is approved. All right, now let's go ahead. Let's see. Next item, it would be the approval of the minutes from October 28th, 2020. Do I have a movement on that one?
So moved.
Moved by Member Field Foster.
Second.
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Member Kulhanek. Any discussion or any corrections necessary? If not, this is a vote to approve the minutes from October 28th, 2020. Member Field Foster.
Yes. Yes.
Member Kulhanek.
Yes.
Member Hendrickson.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So the minutes from October 28th, 2020 are approved. Next item on the agenda is communications, which I don't see any, and followed by unfinished business, which there is none, thankfully. And so we will move right into new business, which will be ZBA case number 20-12-16-1, Chipotle Mexican Grill, 610 Newport Center Drive, Suite 1300, Newport Beach, California, 92660. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Chapman.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. It works. Hold on 1 second here.
Any luck,
But-
Keith?
That's what the television business calls dead air.
I know.
We're losing our viewership.
What are we trying to accomplish, ladies and gentlemen?
So
Sharing
my
Keith's screen.
yeah, my screen won't share and it's locked on my computer, so I'm trying to unlock it.
Okay.
So let's see.
Screen share. Let's make sure we've got it turned on. Oops. Are you seeing that?
See
We
a
can
pencil?
see that. We can see a white screen.
Okay, that's not helping us. So you should be able to share, Keith, without a problem.
I know, but it's locked on my computer is the problem. So
Uh,
I'm trying to unlock it. I have no clue why, but it's coming up to my system preferences. And then yeah.
You know, we've been able to go through all these meetings without technical difficulty, and the last one,
2020 has one more last gasp of
it has one
2020-ness.
more.
it wouldn't be 2020 unless there was one gap. I mean, come
I
on.
know, right?
It had to happen. It was inevitable.
It
Right.
was. It was.
Sorry, Keith. It was inevitable.
It's only because he told us that there wasn't going to be a December meeting that this
Right,
happened to him. This
right.
is
I
this
know,
is karma.
right? The computer is protesting.
Don't make us promises you can't keep.
He's talked to every person in the township. No one
Right.
wants a variance.
Yep.
Don, we got to get you a computer with a webcam, my friend.
I know. We miss seeing you.
I've never seen your face.
I've never
True
seen him
story.
either.
It's,
I think Don, I think I met you at the training. that we
Yes.
had.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I was at the
Yeah.
I was at the training though, and I
Yep.
still have the training packet here
Good.
right next to me. It was excellent.
That's
And that was about it.
interesting.
Then we all disappeared and crawled into
That's-
our holes for the
that
rest
was
of
the
the year.
last time. That was the last time that we met in person. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the Charlie voice on Charlie's Angels. You know,
Right.
all you can do is, you know,
The-
it's just
The
die.
speaker box. Just the little speaker box on the desk.
It's like just a little speaker box and a voice.
Okay. So things are getting out of hand until we get this presentation up.
Rein it in.
What happens when you give us free reign to just talk and take up space?
Witty banter for the Reno's East crowd. That's not there, by the way, so
That
it's
is
okay.
not there. No.
I like to
they're
think
not
that they're
watching
watching
us
from
there.
home, even if they can't be watching while they're there.
Here's hoping they're getting takeout, supporting our
Oh.
local businesses, and then going back home and
Absolutely.
watching us at home. I like that optimism.
We like that.
Yeah, I like it. Yes. I know we've been supporting all our local businesses as much as possible. It's hard, but man,
I'd say
Well,
my scale
yeah.
says I've been supporting all the local restaurants way too much.
Yeah.
definitely. And my kids love it because I think they're just as sick of mom's cooking as mom is of cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pleased. I saw like the call to arms, like come help save Mitten Rays over.
Yes.
And I went over there the other day, and there was like a line out the door and
Out the
around the
door.
whole
Oh,
plaza.
wow.
So people are responding, which is really
Yeah,
nice.
that's good. I got one from Saddleback the other day. And so I was just like, oh, I got to order some barbecue.
Which, can't hurt anybody.
No?
Maybe
not
our
yet.
arteries, but that's okay. There's always 2021.
Mhm.
There is.
Yeah.
I think I'm running out of like chit chat.
I know. I was going to say, Keith, do you think that we can share from the packet? Would one of the rest of us be able to share at least just the, because I know you had some of the maps and things on the packet. I don't know that you had all of your materials there, but it seemed at least like we could maybe,
Yeah, can we look at our package?
yeah.
Yeah, I
we could just replay the
You want to
meeting
walk through it, and then let me see. Do I have email?
Yeah, you could walk through it first.
Yeah, why don't we walk through it, and then if there's need to, I mean, I think also, I mean, I think we should all keep in mind, we've looked at this property a few
Yep.
times.
Yeah.
I think member Hendrickson, you were here for and member Kohanek, both were here for the Aspen Dental case
I
as
think,
well.
yep.
We
So,
were.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I have to show you is, except for some photos, is in the packet. So
That's
yeah,
fine.
so
You can go
I
with the
think
packet.
I think let's just go ahead with the
Okay.
presentation, and if for some reason we need pictures, I think one of us should be able to access the packet. But if everybody confirming everybody has their packet, so you can access it in some way, shape, or form to look. So if that's the case, I say we just move on.
okay,
Just go with it.
okay, yeah. So I'll start then.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the applicant is Chipotle Mexican Grill, and they're requesting a variance to install a second wall sign at 2085 West Grand River Avenue. The property is zoned C2 commercial and is approximately 1.84 acres in size. It's located at the southeast corner of Grand River and Okemos. The previous restaurant was demolished and a 10,826 square foot commercial building was constructed. So the applicant occupies the easternmost tenant space. There are entrances to the building on both the east and the north side of the building. On the east side of the building, there is a drive-through window that is for online or app orders, and that was approved under Special Use Permit 19031. The whole project was approved under Site Plan Review 1911. Current tenants of the building include Chipotle, IV Rehab Physical Therapy, Verizon, Aspen Dental, and Vacant Suite. And in June, the Zoning Board of Appeals granted a variance to permit a 47 square foot wall sign on the north facade and a second 47 square foot wall sign on the west facade. This was in the westernmost tenant space that is occupied by Aspen Dental. So in approving that variance, the Zoning Board of Appeals put a condition limiting the size of both of the signs to 47 square feet. The applicant had originally requested to install two 92.3 square foot wall signs, with one being on the north building facade that had 47 linear feet of frontage on Grand River, and the other was on the west building facade that had 80 linear feet of frontage on Okemos Road. So the township's ordinance states that multi-tenant buildings are permitted to have one wall sign for each tenant that has an individual means of public access and building frontage on a public street. So the size of the wall sign is equivalent to 1 square foot for each 1 linear foot of building frontage occupied. And currently, the approximately 2,300 square foot tenant space for Chipotle has 29 linear feet of frontage on Grand River Avenue. So we measure this by going from the dividing wall of the tenant space to the outside wall on the eastern side of the building. And so based on that 29 feet of frontage, they're permitted to have a 29 square foot wall sign. And a wall sign permit was approved on August 5th, 2020 to install the existing 29 square foot Chipotle sign located on the north facade. And so now the applicant is requesting a variance for the east facade to have a second 29 square foot sign to be located there. There is public access provided on that side of the building that has 80 feet of linear frontage in length. However, the facade is facing a driveway, which doesn't front on a public street. And so the applicant is requesting a variance to install a second wall sign on the side of the building that is not a front facade. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chapman. Is there anybody here from the applicant party that would like to speak on behalf of this case tonight? And if so, please state your name and address for the public record before you begin.
Hello, this is Will Johnson with Johnson Sign Company. And our address is 2240 Lansing Avenue, Jackson, Michigan. And I don't have a ton to add. Keith really laid out everything that I at least wanted to as far as what we're requesting. You guys all got a copy of our criteria of the eight criteria that we filled out. And I think just the one thing to add is just, I was hoping that we could show some of those photos that that we did have that showed some of the front views from Grand River. And, because we really do have, our client, I should say, really does have limited viewing from West Grand River. And so we feel like the east side of that building has the best visibility. And that is what we're requesting, is if the board would grant a variance to permit a second wall sign for the east elevation. It really gets a lot of the traffic that's headed west on Grand River. So it's going to be the same exact size, like Keith mentioned, as the existing one that was already put up at 29 square feet. And, it looks identical to the one in the front, but just on this side. So that is pretty much all I have. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any.
Okay, great. I really appreciate that, Mr. Johnson. And yeah, stay close by. I'm sure we'll have questions.
All right.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on behalf of the applicant or that wants to speak on generally on this case? I do see a couple people in our attendees area. So if you would like to speak, please let us know so we can get you in here to speak. I'll give you a couple moments. If not, we will move on to board time. Okay, we're going to go ahead then and move on to board time and close public remarks. All right, anyone want to begin our discussion here? Go ahead, Member Hendrickson.
Sure. So first of all, thank you to the applicant for providing answers to the, not answers so much, but providing information relating to the 8 criteria. That's always helpful, helps make our job a little easier as we're sort of addressing those. Overall, without getting specifically into any of them, I think this is a pretty open and shut case before us. We approved a similar variance request on the other side of the building. I personally don't see any reason why we shouldn't in this case as well. The similar circumstances exist for this side of the building, existed on the other side of the building. There are still the same trees out front that make the sign difficult to see. It's not the tenant's fault who's applying for the variance. And obviously the major thoroughfare where they're going to get most of their drive-in clientele needs to be able to see a sign in order to access and know about the business. And so I'm feeling pretty comfortable with the request as made. We can certainly go through, and we will go through and talk about the 8 criteria, but from my cursory review, I'm pretty confident that I'll be supporting this, unless there's some really compelling arguments made to change my mind. And just as a note, I mean, all of us, I think, do site visits as a part of preparation for these meetings. And so while we aren't able to see pictures of the specific building in our presentation tonight, We definitely saw this back in June when we saw the other side of the building and saw site photos. And also, likelier than not, most of us have driven by here quite frequently over the last few years. So we're familiar with the site. I just wanted to mention that for the record so that so that it's not like we're making these decisions sight unseen.
Agreed. Thank you, Member Hendrickson. I would tend to agree with exactly what you said. I did have a chance to drive that direction in order to see what we were discussing. I've used I've used the pickup window there quite frequently myself recently. But that being said, I do definitely see where, again, we're back to a practical difficulty. I can very easily make the case for a practical difficulty in this case, the same way that we made a practical difficulty again for the other tenant on the other side of the building. The one thing I will say is we're talking about this, and now we have, I think this is the third case that we've had just on Grand River alone in the past 6 months that is signage and not taking away from this particular case, because I think, as Member Hendrickson said, it's pretty clear what we're looking at here. But does this need to be looked at further as far as a general regulation? Meaning that when you have these buildings that do have two frontages, I'm thinking about the Buddy's Pizza case, I'm thinking about Aspen Dental, now this is the third we've had. As we're beginning to redevelop these areas, is this something that needs to be looked at? So I don't necessarily see that this stops us from this particular case, but maybe this is something that we need to really, I see a pattern, I guess, developing is what I want to make just make a statement regarding, so that we as a board can be aware, and perhaps it's something too that we need to then refer to planning or to the township board. Yes, Member Hendrickson, go ahead.
Yeah, on that topic, I agree with you. That was one of my thoughts as I was looking at this packet as well. And while we haven't voted on what our goals for 2021 will be as a planning commission, what I can tell you is that our 2020 goals before the pandemic interrupted everything included a review and revision of the sign ordinance. And so I imagine that will be back on the docket for 2021. And now, having seen a few of these cases come up, we'll definitely have some additional fodder to add to that discussion. So I do appreciate that, and I think that's likely to happen in the future.
Excellent. And I think that's such a great reason we have somebody from planning on our board. And I think that makes for a really, helpful relationship when you can see things that are starting to become a pattern. You can maybe even address them before we need to say, hey, there's a pattern here. But just something, and I don't think it needs to be anything formal, but obviously, you have the board and can bring that forward. You will do your due diligence as your own separate commission to figure out what's necessary. But I just wanted to say that because that's the only thing that really precluded me. That's that criteria 7 that I just had that little kind of lingering. But that being said, does anyone else have anything to add or any questions for the applicant tonight? Okay, if not, I'm just going to kind of wing right through these criteria just so that we have that on our record. Obviously doing our due diligence as a board. The first criteria would be unique circumstances exist that are peculiar to the land or structure that are not applicable to any other land or structures in the same zoning district. And again, this is a unique circumstance to this particular development. We've established that. Keith, did you have something to add? Oh, okay. I thought you were waving at me trying to get my attention as I was reading.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Criteria number 2, these special circumstances are not self-created, and we are in agreement there that this was not self-created. Criteria number 3, strict interpretation and enforcement of the literal terms and provisions of this chapter would result in practical difficulties. And we have talked prior, but I'll go into some of the practical difficulties being sight lines with the mature trees in the front that we'd like to have in our township and have that green space and that kind of buffer between the development and the road there. Also do have the problem of precluding some of the vision of the signage, and also on that eastern front kind of facing the drive off of Grand River, the sight lines are really challenging. And if you're trying to enter the building from that side, are you in the right place? Where are you? There's no signage there. So I think we've all discussed at length the practical difficulties of needing to have enough visual representation so that people can see where they're going, coming from either direction on the road there. Criteria number 4, that the alleged practical difficulties which will result from a failure to grant the variance would unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose. And I think being able to have people easily access your place of business is would constitute a practical difficulty. Let's see, variance number 5, granting the variance is the minimum action that will make the use of land or structure in a manner which is not contrary to the public interest and which would carry out the spirit of the zoning ordinance, secure public safety, and provide substantial justice. I think that we are at minimum action. We've kept that sign to the same size of the original approved sign on the front facade, and this would secure public safety and provide substantial justice for this particular business. And variance number 6, or I'm sorry, review criteria number 6, granting the variance will not adversely affect adjacent land or the essential character in the vicinity of the property. I think that, again, we're in agreement that we're not going above and beyond with large neon signs or anything of over and above nature. This is right within line of the rest of that development. Criteria number 7, the conditions pertaining to the land or structure are not so general or recurrent in nature as to make a formulation of a general regulation for such conditions practicable. As we just discussed, that's something that planning will be looking to in 2021. And at this moment, we as a board do not necessarily need to recommend anything in particular. Criteria number 8, granting the variance will be generally consistent with public interest and the purposes and intent of this chapter. And I do think that this is right in line with what is intended here, which is to allow businesses to be able to be visible and accessible to everyone that would like to frequent those businesses. So with that being said, any more discussion on those criteria? Yes, Member Hendrickson.
First, I want to thank the chair for summarizing the criteria and the rationale that I also share. And I will move that we approve the variance in ZBA case 20-12-16-1.
All right. We have,
Second.
okay, supported by Member Field Foster. Any discussion? All right. Well, in that case, Member Kulhanek, do you have anything to add this evening? Voice of Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, hi there.
Hey, Doug.
You have to stop saying that because I'm sure I don't sound like Charlie's Angels. No, I'm sorry. I've been listening and I'm in general agreement with the sentiment that's been expressed along the way.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Member Kulhanek. Well, on that note, then I would like to go ahead and vote. This is a vote to approve the variance request. Now I need to find here we go. To approve the variance request for ZBA case number 20-12-16-1, Chipotle Mexican Grill, 610 Newport Center Drive, Suite 1300, Newport Beach, California, 92660. Member Field Foster.
Yes.
Member Hendrickson.
Yes.
Member Kulhanek.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, your variance has been approved. All right.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, sir. We
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
you coming in tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. All right. Well, on that note, there is no other business for this evening, so we will go to public comment. If there's anybody that would like to say anything, please feel free to raise your hand so that Home TV can put you in our meeting here.
And if there are people who happen to be watching on home TV at home, we can take public comment at the telephone number 517-349-1232 if that's preferable to being inside the attendee area. I see no one raising their hand there. I'll pause for about 20 seconds to allow the phone to ring.
Thank you.
And we have no calls coming in at this time. I think you're safe to proceed.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, our our Reno's East crowd is not ready to talk with us tonight, which is just fine. We will close public comment and move on to board member comments. If anything, any board member would like to add. I will just add, as chair, I wish all of you very happy holiday season and a very, very happy new year. And here's hoping 2021 is a lot more gentle and kind to all of us and a lot easier for all of us than 2020 was.
Absolutely. And
Here's hoping.
just want to thank Keith and Mark for all the work that they've done, putting up with us, keeping us in line, and definitely getting us all the information. So your work is definitely appreciated. So I just
Here,
want to
here.
say that.
We have excellent staff.
We do.
Director
Absolutely.
Kisavak and Keith over there keeping us informed and keeping the township moving and building. So we need you. And we are appreciative.
Thank you.
And we appreciate working with you. As Brian Bushane would say, this is the best board to be staff to or beyond.
Here we go. We
Great
have a good
board.
time. We
Yeah.
have a good time, and we always make the best decisions, as you would say.
Hey, I'm telling you, Don, I'm sorry, you're just gonna be Charlie from now on.
Okay, that's
just-
fine.
That's what it's gonna be.
I think the voice in the speaker had a name though. I can't remember.
It was
Somebody out
Charlie.
there. Probably.
It was Charlie.
It was
It
Charlie.
was just trying.
But
It was Charlie.
that makes Keith Bosley though. So
That makes me-
Oh,
Oh,
there you go.
is that how it works? Okay, like I was thinking Bosley. That's
So
what
does
I was
that mean
trying to
we're the
think of.
angels? Is that we're
There you go.
Okay, we're the
I'm-
angels.
I'm
Well, there you
comfortable with
go.
that.
See, there's three of us.
You guys
But
are
if I
back,
could-
I have no clue what you're talking about. So
Oh,
Oh,
come
man.
on.
there was a remake even.
There
It
was
like
a
5 years
remake.
ago.
Just
Yeah, it was
not
like-
even. There was
that
one
was
last
like 20
year.
years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
last
there was one
year.
last year. There was one last
Yeah,
year
it looks like it's not that old.
with what's her name, the girl from Twilight. Come on, there was
Yeah.
one last year.
Yeah.
All right, Google it.
Well, on that note,
Oh, if I could,
Charlie-
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, Don.
Oh,
Go
but
ahead.
before you take off,
Yeah, absolutely.
but before we go, I did want to just take this opportunity to thank everybody, but especially our chairperson, who I think just did remarkable work keeping the meetings moving along. I know it was a challenge, especially with me being invisible, but I'm sure it was very challenging, and I think you did really remarkable work and kept a good sense of humor along the way, and did more work than you probably expected at the beginning of the year. You know, when you were a elected chairperson. So I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
Well, thank
Here,
you.
here, I agree.
That's
Agreed.
an excellent compliment. Thank you. It's been a learning curve, but hey, we've done it together and we've gotten there. We've done good work along the way. So I'm only as good as the rest of you are on making decisions. So I appreciate that though. It's been fun. It's been interesting and definitely a learning experience. So here's hoping that sometime in 2020 we get back to seeing each other in person. I would really, really like that.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, everyone have a happy holiday.
Yes.
Absolutely. You too. And we'll see you in
Stay safe.
2021.
Absolutely.
All right, on that note, I will call this meeting adjourned, and good luck, and see you on the flip side.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Everyone.
bye-bye.
Night, everyone. Thank you.